Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Preco, President and Founder of Atom Software, and it is my pleasure today to demonstrate the Atom Software Update Summer Release 2022. So everyone should have an outline in front of you, and I recommend just jotting down notes that apply to your office as we go through these 13 pages. And I will begin with Twilio texting. So hopefully all of you guys are taking advantage of the texting feature that's offered in Atom. To begin, you can now use WhatsApp if you want to send and receive text messages. It's always been using SMS. If you don't know what WhatsApp is, I'd recommend just continue to use SMS. That's what we're going to do in our office, but there are some users that requested this for international texting. So I'm not going to get in any further other than if you're interested, call Atom support for assistance to set up the process. Next, you can now text. When you send an individual text to someone, you can actually attach a file with it, a JPEG, a PDF. We were able to do that when you were doing batch texting or like the email text templates. Now you can actually do it inside the file. So I'm going to move this over here, the outline, I'll demonstrate. So I'm inside of a file. I go to Twilio messages, new text message, and you can just say testing picture. Okay, and I'm just going to browse. And this happens to be a ping file. So there are limitations on the size. So I tried to send the 13-page PDF outline. That was too big. So if it's just one image, it's not a problem. Then you just hit send. That would go to that individual's phone, and now they would see a picture. So just make sure, obviously, because we have confidential data, this is controlled at the user level, so you may not want everybody to use it, but anyway, you can turn that on, and you can take advantage of that now. Also, we have new help information. I always encourage you to look at the screen helps, but up here in the help, we've updated for Twilio texting. So take a look at that too if you need assistance on understanding how to text message through Atom. Next, we have Twilio Voice, the VoIP. So we introduced that last year in the updates. Many of you did take advantage of that. We used it in our office and it was amazing. So now we've added some additional enhancements to make that feature even better. I'm going to go to the admin and go to my company page because that's where most of these are controlled. Scroll down here and Twilio voice language. So it was just strictly in English. This is for your for the accent. So if you have Spanish speaking people, so the voice message, or not the voice message, but any kind of message that's relayed using the voice system, you can control it either going to be an English accent or a Spanish accent. And you turn that in here in the company page. Hold music. Now there's 6 different choices you can choose for your hold music. And you can actually listen to them right here by clicking on sample here. Predefined messages added. So we found ourselves changing our message that the client hears when they call in quite a bit. So say, for example, if you're going to be closed due to holidays, long weekends, going to a tax conference, you can now predefine these messages in advance. So you don't have to continually, what I was doing is storing them and copying and pasting. So say I have attending a tax class. Of course, I'd have to change my dates. Then I just hit save, and now that's the new message. Holidays for Christmas. So it's very easy now to change the message that the client hears when they call in. And that's you guys create all those up in there. So now the next one on the list is called no answer message based on office hours. So the way Atom, the VoIP system worked is as soon as everyone is unavailable, you couldn't take a call, then they would get the your no answer message. So now we have it set up. That still works the same way, but now you can actually link it to your office hours. So on your, and it would be on the, say, the appointment calendar, the work schedule. So if your office hours are set 9 to 7, well then you're considered closed, and they actually will not be able to, the phones will not ring, or obviously they don't ring anymore. It comes into your computer unless it's inside these office hours, if you want to turn that on. So in our office, during tax season, we had the ability to do this because we were a beta tester. So halfway through the season, we turn this on. So at 7 o'clock when we close, there's no more incoming message. They always get the closed message. So as opposed to it having, when someone would have to answer the phone. So you can control that based on your office hours now. And that actually helped our office quite a bit. Voicemail added. A lot of you guys that are using Atom for voice, you wanted a voice message. So now you can turn that on if you choose. I have a voice message right here. So how this will work is right here on the home page, you have voice, and it says you have one new voicemail. So then you would just click here. It comes into your call page, and right down here at the bottom with this little alert, if you click on here, you actually will listen to the voice message. And I'm going to show you it also displays inside the client file. So John Casey called in and left a voice message. If I go into John's file, so now I'm actually in his client file right here on the call log, I'll have an alert icon. That means John has left a voice message. Then when I click on the call log, I can see all the voicemail that have come in. So he's called and left voice message on June 13th, the 15th, and then today, of course. And now when I listen to it, I just click on the play. And now the message will play. I hit OK. And now it's all stored here, so I can listen to all my old voice messages. And now back on the home page now, it will no longer say I have one new voice message because I just listened to it. So whoever listens to it now needs to act on it and move it to the next stage. But you can turn that on or turn that off. It's up to you. The call queue SMS notification. Make sure you guys know where we're at here. Pull the outline back over here. So we're right here, call queue SMS notification. What that is because we have a call queue, and so if you have people that are working remote that might want to help out if you guys get busy with the phones, so when you get a certain number of call queue, so in our office we're going to set it at 5. So if I have 5 people waiting in my call queue, means we're kind of busy, I'm going to have a text automatically go to somebody at home alerting them that, hey, we need help. Actually, it's going to be my wife alerting her, we need help, jump on the phone at home, the computer, and start helping out with the calls. Because kind of, as you know, calls kind of come and go, so you don't need somebody to sit there and all day long, just help out during that little bit of time when the calls are heavy in volume. So anyway, this is, you can set this up. You can control it based on when you want someone to be alerted by text if you choose to use this feature. Anyway, I'm pretty excited about this. I think it's going to help out. Again, the voice phone system within Atom allowed me to manage my phone calls this year. So it was pretty amazing. And it also would be, so I have this turned on. Let me show you real quick here. So it's turned on for me. I have this set for myself. So if I were to go into my punch clock in Outboard, I can actually see where it says subscribe to voice queue client count notification. So I know who's turned on and who's turned off. So if I go to my users page, this is going to show it right here too. So none of these people it's turned on except for myself right here. Yes. So then you could easily, the manager could see to make sure that it actually is turned on for someone to help with the phones if you get busy and you have quite a few in the call queue. Again, at the bottom here, it says help. We have new help with the Twilio VoIP. If you're interested, again, just go to the help menu up here, and then we have Twilio VoIP. Tells you all about it and how to get it set up and videos on it and everything. All right, moving on to page 2. Electronic faxing. This is a new feature we've added. Here you see it on the home page here. I'm going to demonstrate. You can now fax inside of Atom, just like you can text in Atom. You can use a phone system in Atom. Now we've added a fax. So I found myself wanting to fax the IRS at 7 in the morning because that's usually the only time I can get a hold of them, trying to fax a power of attorney. But I didn't want to have to be at the office. So now I can fax from home through my computer, through any computer. I don't need a fax machine anymore. So I can send fax and I can receive fax. So Atom is now my fax machine. And this is how it's going to work. So I'm going to do it, demonstrate sending one out of Xtax. So where you send, so outbound, it's going to be in your account uploads. Here I have a power of attorney. All I do is check the box. This is a document I want to fax. Then I select the fax button down here. I can enter the phone number. So if the IRS gives me their fax number, I would just type it in here. Or if I actually have companies I fax to on a regular basis, you can actually add the fax number inside their client file. So if I'm going to filter, so I'm going to fax it to Atom Software, filter, there they are right there. I can type a description, test fax for demo. All right, now I have the phone number right up there. Then I just hit send fax. Now it's sending this power of attorney. And then I'm just going to refresh this page. Over here on the far right under the column fax, this is going to be like my little fax log. So this is the one it's sending right now, processing. I actually sent this earlier, a couple days ago, to test it. And now I'm going to refresh. So this little refresh icon right here, that's importing the latest data. And now my status is okay. So it successfully went through. And if I want to look, this is my confirmation. Who the sender, that was myself. There's a description from Johnny Tester, that's the client file too. There's the phone number, the fax number, pages sent, okay, successful. So that's my confirmation. Now let's go ahead and close this out. Now I'm going to come over here to Adam's sales. And now on my home page here, I have one new fax. So now I just demonstrated the outbound faxing. That's how you send a fax to someone. So it's going to be in the account uploads pages where you're going to send it. And receiving it, this is a document that came in. If you click on the paperclip, this is the power of attorney that I just faxed over. Now when I hit go back, so now it says I still have a fax sitting in here, but it's no longer new because I viewed it. So normally what you would do is, so if an incoming fax to you, say it's coming from a client, a mortgage company, somebody sending a 1099-B, normally you're going to save this PDF, and then you're going to upload it into that client file. So that's just like a regular fax machine. When they send it to you on fax in a fax machine, it comes over in paper copy. You usually then would scan it, put it in a client file. So in this case, it's all electronic. It's inside of Atom already, but you just have to move it to the appropriate client. Then when it's all set, I hit complete, get it off my home page, but I can go back as many days as I like. This is what I like to see. Closed. So these are all the fax that we have that went out. And I can, again, click on the paperclip. That would show the document, but I should be moving it to the right client file. So we're pretty excited about this. We've already, in our office, eliminated our fax provider, got rid of our fax machine, and now we can fax from anywhere, from home, in the office, wherever we'd like. Not that we fax a lot, but it's needed for any tax office. So now we have it in Atom. I did list the price here. So Interfax is who we integrated with. So like Twilio is who we integrated with for texting and voice, and we integrated fax through Interfax. And the cost is roughly $19 per month, depending on how many pages you go outbound or inbound. So we did the bare minimum, which is 100 each way. So if you're interested, contact Atom Support, but we have a great help page in here, faxing through Atom with Interfax. Explains everything, does another short video, has a landing page, how to sign up. So I would start here. And if you have any trouble or want more information, please call the ADAM support for assistance. Just another form of communication you have with your clients. And again, ADAM's all about putting it all in one place. All right, moving on page 2, self check-in. So married filing separate. So when you're inside the client file, obviously you can check married filing separate. When you check the box here. So in this example, when Mary comes in using the self check-in screen, she would get a brand new file set up for her automatically. Makes it easier for the front desk person. The client portal. Okay, I'm going to move the client portal up here now. So if they forget their password, say it's the spouse, it's a joint, taxpayer spouse forgets the password. When you click on need a password, now it's going to identify that it's the primary's email and cell phone and social that we need, not the spouse's. So there was confusion, which I can understand. We just added simply making it labeled primary to prevent the confusion, to make it easier for people to, if they forgot their password, to reset their password. Portal link icons added, so I'm going to go ahead and log in here. So John's file. So we've added icons inside the portal. So track the tax return status, got a little icon here, where's my refund, upload files. You can control the icons. In admin, pick your own. We are sending, when we do the update, you will have icons in here. You can, again, if you want to eliminate them, get rid of them, or if you want to change them, you can change them all in admin. Appointment date and time to display on top. So when your clients book their appointments, either through the portal or calling you up to book the appointment, it'll now display right here. So in this case, John has an appointment Monday on July 25th, so it will be displayed right here for, if they have multiple appointments, you would have multiple appointments up here in the right-hand corner. And this is a client is seeing this. Upload documents. This year, not sure why, but we had a lot of problems where people were uploading the same document multiple times. I had one file, a client sent in over 200 documents. So they more than duplicated. It was just a big mess. So now when they upload files, so they're going to browse just like always, or drag and drop, whatever they want to do. And of course, they're going to label it. When they hit upload, the pop-up box is going to display telling them that the file was successfully uploaded, so they don't need to do it again. They can view it just by clicking on here and see what the document looks like. So if you had 5 documents, you'd have all 5 here and they can click on it. Then they select OK. And one more thing is they can't, so this is labeled W2. If they try to upload another document labeled W2, it will not let them. So that's try to prevent them from uploading the same document. So if they have multiple W2s, they would then be prompted to change the name. So maybe W2 Kroger's, W2 Myers. So you have to just, it will not let you upload the exact same file name. Then hit OK. So now that's been uploaded successfully, but that should eliminate them from uploading the same document more than once, which was a problem last year. File names with plus signs. We had an issue where if they had a plus sign in the file name, they could not upload it. That's been fixed now. The plus sign will just be replaced with a blank space, a blank character. E-sign documents. Again, we're trying to improve the e-sign documents, make it easier for our clients. Now when they click on the e-sign required link, when they go to request, if you know there used to be a request pin right here, and then when they also clicked here, they had request pin, so they were doing it twice. So now there's only one request pin button. It's when they click on the e-sign signature or the e-sign client or e-sign spouse. That's when they can request their pin. Automatic autocomplete turned off on the name field. So I guess the problem was they would click on this name field and they had auto fill turned on their computer, and it automatically filled something in here. It wasn't actually the name. And then they wouldn't even see what it was because it was kind of blanked out. And then they would just go ahead and hit eSign client, and that was then stored on the eSign certificate. Now this field will not allow autocomplete to fill in. Page 3, schedule an appointment and request an appointment. Down here under schedule my appointment, and you could schedule or request appointment from here. We've added the appointment type, and I'm going to get into this in more detail later because it's throughout ADAM here. So we have appointment type. Now with this next year, in our office, we're thinking it's going to be kind of a hybrid type. Some people are going to want to do their taxes on the portal. They're going to want to come in the office. They're going to want to sit in our parking lot. We just need to know when they book the appointment, either over the phone or on the portal, how do they want us to service them this year? So they're going to tell us, and you're going to create this, and this is all set up in admin anyway. So it's in the portal too. So if we have a lot of people booking appointments through here, so we need to know how do they want their appointment to go this year. That's what the appointment type is. Update personal information. So what we added here, and again, I'm going to get more detail later when we talk about the contact information in the client file, but now clients, normally all the notifications would go out to the primary email and cell phone number. Now you can put an override and pick what email and what cell phone you want that to be. So on the personal information page in the portal, they can see this, and if they need to update it, it actually gives them a little message here. They actually need to contact us, and we need to change it. So they could send us a message to the portal, but they cannot change it right here. They can change the regular email, but this override, they will not have control of doing that. They would have to contact you. So this is new. I'm not sure if this will cause any problems or more calls to the office, but anyway, just wanted to point this out. And again, I'm going to go in more detail when I get into the client file, how you set up these overrides. Mobile version, view documents. We just added, now the note and description will be added. It displays on there. Where's my refund? For those that do bank products, I'm gonna go here to Rhonda Tyson here. So this person did a refund loan. We didn't realize our message was a little out of date. Now that you can get advances with, on prepaid cards, they can get advances through direct deposit. It was not just always checks. Now we've updated the message that the client sees in the portal based on what product they picked for the refund advance. So I'm not going to get into that. So you can read how the message is displayed here if you're doing bank products. And of course, you have to be using Drake or Crosslink to have this actually work. Page 4. So now let's get to the home. That's all on the portal. Move this off. In fact, let's go ahead and close this out. Now going to the home page. So we're big on icons this year. So on our home page now we have icons for all the main headers. User overview, office communications. We'll get into what these are in a few minutes. You can also expand and collapse. So if you don't want to see all these events, so if some of your users, your employees, say the receptionists, don't get involved in any office events, all they do is answer the phone, they could actually hide all of these. So they don't have to see this, and it's not as overwhelming on the home page. They can do that also for office communications. We did not allow them to do that for the user overview. So normally I wouldn't want someone I'm assigning tasks to them or sending them messages, and it's because they had their user overview collapsed. So I always want that to be displayed, because we do send messages, and I could see somebody doing that by an error, and then they never see that we sent them a message or assigned a task to them. So go ahead and expand them back out this way, just making the home page a little more flexible and user-friendly. Communication summary, right up here, communication summary. We've added the total tasks. So if I were to go back to a date, let me go to 6/25 here, and I apply. So what this communication log, if you've if you guys are familiar with it, it's basically trying to allow you to see what your employees are doing. So are they answering the phone? If you're using, Adam's VoIP system, are they, taking care of emails, portal messages, but we also added now the tasks down there where it's task notes inside the client files. If I click on this, in this case, it was a phone message. So it just kind of gives you a good idea of what everybody's doing. Obviously, because most people are working in Adam, so we just added tasks along with the communication log here. Call summary, the call summary log. Close this out, go to my home page. Call summary. And I'm going to go back to get some data here. Oops, June 5th. And again, this is if you're using Adam's VoIP system. And again, this is why Adam's VoIP system is so powerful. It's not just, obviously answering the phone and taking, talking to clients is very important, but now tracking and getting all this data is just amazing that you have, and it's so quick and easy to do. Anyway, we added, let's see here, on the hourly log under missed. Now I can see if they actually have missed or they hung up. So missed means nobody answered the phone, so maybe you were closed. And then hung up means that the client actually disconnected. So anyway, just a little more detail on missed calls. Daily log summary table. Going back to the home page here. So now here in the daily log, so we actually joined two tables together. And again, this is just to give you an idea of what took place in your office related to communication. So I can track my portal, my prospect portal, my text, email, fax, and voice. So I'm going to go back to get some data here. Go back to June 5th. See what took place on, oh, not June 5th. I want to go back to, I'm sorry, May 2nd. May 2nd. What was going on May 2nd? This gives me an idea what was going on in my office on May 2nd. So I got 17 portals, inbound, outbound, we added that, missed. And again, because you can associate a dollar amount based on the amount of time we feel it takes you to like answer a portal message or answer a text. So overall, I have $102.12 of what I felt based on what I factored in for the time spent to handle these emails or phone calls associated with the dollar amount of my employees' time. So again, just quick and easy way to get a snapshot of what took place on that day related to communications, if you're funneling your communications through Adam. Contact information added to the bottom of the page. Let me go back to my home page here. And if we go down to the bottom, right here is based on the site. So I have my phone number, my text, my email address, my fax number, my website, address. This is more for your, like when we hire new employees, answer the phones, typically the client's going to ask, what's your address, what's your fax number. Anyway, we always had that on a piece of paper. So now we figured why not just put it in Adam so we don't have to worry about losing that piece of paper. So anyway, that's all controlled in admin under your sites. So you can update that and it'll display down here. Moving on to office events. Again, I'm on page 4 still. And we have column headings on my office events. So let me go into over here, office events. So I've added down here under print with Saginaw, it's one of our office events. So now we added category 2. So category 2 is actually inside the client file. I'm going to show you in a second. So anyway, it's a column here. If you want it to display, you just turn that on. City acknowledgement code. So I'm going to go to my rejects. Scroll down here, rejects. All we did is now for city acknowledgement code, if it rejects, we highlight it in red. No big deal. Appointments. Go to, so the appointment column, it would always say walk in, or it displays the appointment time when they check in. Now we've added, if I come all the way to the bottom here to find an appointment, hold on 1 second. Okay, got lost here. So here's the appointment. So it shows time is 2 o'clock. It's got the date. So the date is now displaying. It didn't display before. And now we have the appointment type. So as I just explained on the, excuse me, on the portal, now we're identifying how the clients want to be serviced. In this case, they want the appointment to be an over-the-phone appointment. So that now will display under the appointment column. User overview. I go up here to the top. Appointment type is added. So if I click on appointments for the month, now my type right here, so the appointment type will display here, and it also gives the icon. In this case, it's a drop off. Moving on to page 5. We now have a heading, last files visited. And I'm going to expand that. This is going to display the last 10 files, client files that you were in. And you can clear this if you want, start fresh for the day. Again, you can expand or collapse it. And it's based on business type. So if I were to switch over to a different business type, now these are the last 10 files I went into related to payroll X-Tax. So this will make it easier so you don't have to search as much for the client files that you're most recently been in. Next, a new one is favorites down here. Now you can tag which files are your favorites. And to do that, if I were to go into, say, Tommy Sager here, and these are not filtered by business type. So this could be bookkeeping, you'll see, and it's you only can have 10 favorites display, but it's not filtered by business type. So if I go in here, Tommy, and I go into his file right here under account information, this is where I tag it. So if I uncheck and save, mark as favorite, now I go back to my home page. So now Tommy is no longer a favorite. So very easy to turn on and turn off. So if you find yourself going into some file all the time, doesn't have to necessarily be the client's file, anything within Atom, go ahead and tag as a favorite so you don't have to search all the time. And these you can turn on. These are all, like, there's settings to turn on in admin too, also related to the last 10 too. You can see that here on the outline. Office communications under here, hyperlink. So this is now a hyperlink, just a quick way to get to the daily log table. So right here, going to give you information on your office communications. You can also get there down at the daily log, which I just showed you earlier. Office messages. So all these office messages here, my portal, my prospect, my text, my email, not necessarily my fax, but any of these portal, prospect, text, and email. So if you're not in Atom on a regular basis during the day, but you want to be alerted that one of your clients or somebody just sent you a message, you can set this up. And so then you would have like a little notification down here in your lower right-hand corner telling you that you have now, one email or one portal message. So if you're in Atom all the time, you don't have to worry because you always will see it on the homepage. But if you're not in Atom all the time and you want to make sure you stay on top of things with your clients, if they're sending you, messages, turn that on and you'll be alerted in the lower hand corner. And there's setup processes you can see right here to turn that on. Prospect portal. So if you have clients, existing clients that are communicating, through the prospect portal, which they're not supposed to do, but you'd want to make sure you link that file to the actual client file. So what we did is we added, so if I were to try to move this and say, I'm going to say Casey John, to make it easier to identify if this person is a client or really a prospect, we added the last 4 of the social here, that's all. So we just found in our office, a lot of existing clients are using our prospect portal to communicate with us, and I really want to keep everything in their file. So I try to link it by moving it. And then, so I just added the last four of the social here to make it easier to identify if this was a client of ours already. Text messages, all we did is add the phone number. Just like we have the phone number down here at the bottom of the page. Now, if I go to my texting, in case I want to know what the text number is, you know, if you have to give that number out, just made it easier for your employees to know where these things are as opposed to on a piece of paper. Same with your email. If you're using SendGrid's email to communicate with your clients, there's the SendGrid email address. And same way with the phone. This is your phone number. So it's amazing though, but when we have new hires every year, just for them to remember what the phone number is. But again, just trying to make it easy, trying to, again, Adam's all about communication, both with your clients and your staff. So this isn't just a way of getting it without having to have a piece of paper stuck up on the wall. Your fax, which we already went over the fax. Here's your fax log right here if you're going to use Adam's fax system. And again, the fax number will display right here too. Because that is one thing that a lot of employees would not find or know the fax number. Moving on to page 6, data import. So if you're a Drake or Crosslink user, all we did is, instead of having the button, just to make it look more uniform and consistent, now we have the heading data import, and then again, expand or collapse. And then you click on the Drake global import, that'll import all the data in from Drake, or if it was Crosslink, it would say Crosslink here. Search. So we've made the search layout much nicer visually. And then also, I don't know if you guys knew this, but all these search criteria were available. You just had to expand or collapse. So now if I expand it, I can see everything, and we just put it in 3 columns instead of having 1 long column. When you receive the update, you're going to get the expanded view so you can see everything. If you don't need to see all that, click on the bar. You'll then have the collapse view, which still gives you 6 more search criteria available to you. But these are the main 3 right here. But it'll remember based on which selection you want, either expanded or collapsed. So even when you log out, it'll be whatever your selection was. So I'll probably leave mine as collapsed just because I don't tend to use other fields for searching other than these main 3. But that's up to you. You guys can do whatever you'd like. We added what's called archived, and I'll get into that, how you archive a client when we get inside the client file. But anyway, if you needed to see what archived is again, it's new. But if you don't want to see these clients all the time because maybe you've got rid of them, obviously you don't want to lose any of that data. Say they've been around, it's been 10 years since they've been back to your office. There's no reason to see them when you do a search for, say, John Smith. When you have multiple John Smiths, now you can tag them. And again, I'll show you how to do that inside the client file. But if I want to search, I just click here, do a search, and right now I just have 1 person that's archived. But that is a new search criteria. Enhanced search filtering. Now when you do a search, you can have a space. So if I had a space here and typed Preco, hit enter. Oh, I guess we removed that. If I hit Preco, P-R-I-C-C-O. Oh, because I have archived. I'm sorry about that. There you go. Before, if I did space Preco, that wouldn't work. Now, spacing is not a big deal anymore. It can still locate the search criteria. All right. And then same way with if I just said PRIC, I would get Preco would show up too. So we made it easier regarding searching for clients, making enhancements there. Add new contact pop-up box. So if I go to do a, let's see, when I hit add new contact, and I'm going to switch this over just to Adam Bookkeeping. So now we had all these events for Adam Bookkeeping. We wanted all these events to automatically populate. I can now click to unselect all, as opposed to normally I could have to do one at a time. Now I can just do them all at once if I don't want them. Search results. Let me go ahead and do a search here for Casey. Now my docs here, before I would go right into my permanent uploads. Now I can also go to my account uploads. So I have the option of which one I want to go into from here, as opposed to, yeah, obviously you could always go in the file and then click the account uploads. This is just a shortcut to either one of the uploads. Punch clock billable. I'm at the bottom of page 6. So billable punch clock here. I've already logged some time here for this Casey Carter. Now when I go to punch out, before I would lose the client's name, now it's going to stay there. So in case you want to punch back in, so we had some users that wanted that enhancement. And then you obviously can always clear it and clear it out too. So if you're using the punch clock, that might come in handy for you. Moving on to page 7, appointments. So when you're in your week or month view, I click on the week, now the actual day will highlight, so you know what day the current day is. That would be the same for week or month view. Disable appointment reminders. Let me go to the 25th. I have an appointment here. I'm going to go back to my day view. John Casey. So when I'm booking an appointment, say this appointment, for some reason they don't want an appointment reminder. You can actually shut that off right here. Just check the box, because right now, obviously you can control sending a confirmation, but an appointment reminder would always go out to that client if you have that set up in admin. Now you can do it on an individual basis. Just if I check this box and hit save, now John will not get an appointment reminder. So you can control that individually. Also, if you don't want any appointment reminders ever to go out to any of your clients, you can control that in admin in the email text template by just not putting anything in. If your message box is now blank, no one will get an appointment reminder. So if you never want appointment reminders to go out, I'm not sure why you'd want that, but that's how you could do that globally. But you definitely, on a case-by-case basis, I think it comes in handy by just checking that box. Export appointments to Outlook calendar. So if you're using an Outlook calendar and you want to export it, you can now do that by just clicking this export. It'll be the individual. This individual appointment then would go ahead and export into Outlook. And then down here, you can do it globally. So for all the appointments that are on the page for the day, if you click down here, export calendar, that would allow you to export all of the appointments for that day into your Outlook calendar. Appointments filter by user's default site. Right now, the default is for appointments to display, it's based on the site. Those that are using the disregard the work schedule and the appointment schedule, the employee's name would show up on all sites, all right, which is could be a problem when you're booking appointments. Now you can actually filter it by the default site for that employee. So every employee, when I click on the username in here under site, this is my default site. So every employee has a default site. So if you want to do that, if you've had problems where you have multiple sites and you're disregarding the work schedule for some employees, now this should solve your problem by filtering based on default site as opposed to the actual selected site. Online schedule appointment. I guess there will be an issue with the time scales. Those have been now fixed. Again, I'm on page 7 here. Appointment types. I'm gonna go back to my appointment type here, and we've already kind of briefly discussed this. This is where you actually set it up. So if a client calls in and you're booking an appointment, the receptionist is going to pick what the appointment type, how do they want to be serviced this year? Do they want to do it in the office, online, by phone, or are they just dropping it off? You customize these. You can make this a required field if you want, which we're probably going to do going into next tax season, just because we had a lot of times where we were supposed to call the client for the appointment and the preparer didn't realize it. So we kind of waited for the client to come in. Well, they wanted it over the phone and we didn't have a good way of communicating that with the preparer. We may have put it in the notes, but if the preparer doesn't look at the note, it's not going to work. Now, when you go ahead and do this, you're going to see the icon right here. So the preparer is going to know in advance how that person wants to be serviced for their appointment this year. So hopefully that will solve that problem, because we got yelled at quite a bit. I shouldn't say quite a bit, but more than I wanted to, because we were just supposed to call the client and then the client didn't call us. And you can customize this, so which is very important. So based on what the appointment type is, then your appointment confirmation going out to the client, you can customize it. So if it's a drop off, you can kind of guide them as to where they'd want to drop it off. If it's a phone appointment, you can say, the preparer will call you on the date of your appointment. If it's inside the office, you want them to wear a mask, you can say that in the confirmation and also the appointment reminders. So again, just keeping the communications between you and your client, it makes everything run smoother. So now you can customize those confirmations and reminders based on what the appointment type is. And you set that all up in admin. New client appointment page. Again, if you have a new client scheduling their own appointment from your new client appointment page, we just added the appointment type there too. So anywhere where there's an appointment, we need to know how they want to be serviced. Moving on to page 8. Now we're inside the client file. And I'll go right into this file from here, into John Casey here. Got a lot of red. I'll explain what all this is. Comment fields. So obviously we always had the screen help with our field descriptions. Now we just we moved the field descriptions. They're still there. But now if you just hover over the top of one of these boxes, you're going to actually be able to see it here, so you don't have to open up the PDF document. So I go to special conditions. It's going to tell me what it is. So we'll continue to add that throughout Atom as we do another release, into our winter release, just to make it easier for your employees to know what is expected to be entered in these fields. Contact information PDF. So here are the print contact information. We had some users that wanted because we removed the social here for security purposes. Now the last 4 will display. Client category 2, we mentioned that for the office events column. And this is where it is. We always had category 1. Now we had some Atom users that needed more information about the client. So now we have a category 2. So you customize that in admin and select it. And of course it displays as I demonstrated on the home page on the office events. Archive contact. That's right over here. So as I pointed out, the archive for the search criteria, this is how you archive a client. So if I check the box and hit save, now when I do a regular search for the client, they will not display. So this is his business, but John Casey does not display anymore. And I hit archived search, and then now he's there. So that's just a way of getting rid of your clients that you don't need to see anymore, but their data is still there and stored in case you ever need to go back and get some information. Notification overrides for email and text. So we mentioned this on the portal. Is it displayed? Right here is a notification for override. So normally this happens with the taxpayer and the spouse. So the spouse may be handling all the taxes for the family. So they want to be they want to receive the notifications, like the appointment reminders, the uploaded tax return, or whatever. This would be the override. So any kind of notification that goes outside of Atom, it's going to look here. If there's an override, that's where it's going to go to. And you have the little alert icon right here that's just saying that there's an override over here for the cell phone too, just so you're aware that these are being overridden right down here. So that in this case, this email would no longer be the primary for notifications. It would be right down here. So this should come in handy for joint returns where the spouse wants to get all the information. Just put the spouse's email and cell phone in the override. Default all communications fixed. So over here, which you guys should be aware of, default all communications, what that means is whenever this client were to email me or send a text or a portal, then in this case, Mark would always be assigned that message, incoming message. So I guess when we were doing texting back and forth, this name was being dropped. That's been fixed. Autofill city and state, for those that have to enter the city and state in, and it's not automatically importing, right down here, just a quick way. So if I enter the zip code, it'll pre-fill the city and state in. So that works for secondary addresses and also for the main address. So just go like that, and then you hit tab, and it automatically populates it. Email text messages automatically disabled for deceased spouse. So now if the spouse is deceased, they will no longer get, and I wasn't aware of this, like birthday wishes or anything, so everything gets shut off. Notifications get shut off automatically with the date of death entered in here. Permanent documents link. So last year's enhancements, we added these little alert icons right here indicating that there's open messages, like for the portal message. Now for permanent documents, this little alert icon will indicate that there's an open upload. So when I click on here, then these are open. That's why if I were to close these down, that the icon would disappear. So if I check the boxes here, mark is done, go back to my file, and so my alert icon is gone. Delete, let's see, upload tiles for edit. Let me go back to my permanent uploads here. So if I hover over deleting, it's going to highlight the one I'm going to delete. So if I select this, it's going to say, you're sure you want to delete this, just so you know which record you're on. If I hit edit, the same way, it's going to highlight all in yellow, just easier to track what record you're working on. You can also now, your description field, if I select I'm going to do ID taxpayer. So I can default my predefined note to display here, and that's all done in admin under upload types. So in this case, every time I select ID taxpayer, I want driver's license to my predefined note driver's license to display here. So I can set a default now. Appointment link, go back to their file. Under appointments here, again, we added the alert icon. What that meant was that they have a future appointment. So it was going to alert you to actually click on here to go into here to look to see when their appointment was. And we also had added the appointment type to this table. But then while we were working on this, while we're beta testing this, we figured, well, why do the extra click to go to the table? Why don't I just display the actual future appointment end time, end type? So yes, the icon is here indicating it, but it also now displays right here. So you actually don't even have to go to the table. And then if you click on the appointment date and time, this actually takes you right into the calendar, into the scheduler. Because we found a lot of our clients, obviously they're booking, what they were doing is they were dropping their information off for future appointments. So this made it easier. If I'm in their file, I can see, oh yeah, they have a future appointment next week, and I have their information already. I can start working on it or whatever I'd like to do, but it just was a lot easier to know what's happening with the client, that they actually have a future appointment. So it sticks out and displays really easy for you. Contact summary right here. Again, this is a way of having all your clients' communication in one spot. We just added faxes to that. Along with obviously everything else was there, we just added fax if you choose to use our fax service. Where am I here? Appointment link, client portal log. We're at the bottom of page 8. So if I go to my client portal messages, so when I compose a message here, Now all we did is we moved the predefined message to the top. It was at the bottom, which is kind of hard because this box is pretty large. So now the predefined message drop down is right here. If you send a portal message out, notification, SMS, so either you send this, say I send John Casey a portal message. Right now how it works is they get an email and they get a text telling them to go to the portal because your company just sent them a portal message. So you can shut off the SMS. So some of our users didn't want to bombard our clients with both email and text. They didn't think it was necessary to actually send a text telling them to just go to their portal. So now you can shut that off so that text will not go out at all for portal notifications. So say you upload a tax return, again, they were getting an email and a text saying go to the portal to view your tax return. And now you can shut it off so all they would do is get an email. So that's up to you, whatever you want to do, but you can shut that off and your clients won't get bombarded both with email and text. And obviously the texting does cost, I think it's a half a penny a text, so you'd save some money there. So it's up to you. Page 9, contact information. And let me go back to my client here, call log. So the call log link was right here under the phone number. We've moved it down here into all the other links. Now we track, as I mentioned before, you can track hangups, missed calls. So if I have my missed calls here, it's going to tell me some of them are hangups, some are missed. Call records, pop-up box. So if I hit my inbound, and if I check this before I click on the view icon, I can see who talked to them. But if I wanted multiple ones, I couldn't do that. Now if I can check multiple records. So I can see everybody at one time who is the person talking to the client, as opposed to having to do it individual each time. I can sort any one of these columns now, both ways. Looks like we added inbound and outbound. Not sure if that was in here. I don't think it was in here before. So we added this to the little, if I click on here, we added it right in here too, the direction on the pop-up box. Again, just keep making enhancements to the different features as we find out what works better, makes things more efficient. Permanent note, go back in my client file. So my permanent note, hover over there, I have a comment field for that, explaining what the permanent note field is intended for. Account information, again, we have, hover over that, you got the comment fields in each one explaining what the fields are. Add new contact pop-up box. When I hit add account year, again, I can just click here to unselect. This is more for our bookkeeping clients. They're using Atom for bookkeeping. Schedule type. So over here, this did say schedule type. Now, because now we've added the appointment type is, again, is it drop off? Is it phone appointment? So we thought it meant it was more appropriate to call it appointment type as opposed to scheduling type. So we just made that change. Okay, moving to page 10, account uploads. So married filing separate. We found in the last couple of years we've been doing more married filing separate returns because of the stimulus. Sometimes it made more sense. So I saw weaknesses that we had in Atom related to when we had married filing separate files. It really made things really cumbersome with jumbling everything together. So now if you have a married filing separate, so if I go to this client, Albert here, he's married filing separate with Margaret. So I only see Albert's information. So all the years are all just going to be Albert's instead of before it would lump Albert and Margaret, and it was really confusing and a lot of information. So now because we use the link client file all the time, so you can link any client to any file. So if I want to go to Margaret, I just switch over here to Margaret's and I have her information. But when I go in my client file, I can see they're married filing separate, but now we've basically removed, they're not linked really based on married filing separate. They're linked down here as a linked client. So I definitely, if you're not taking advantage of Adam's linked client, please do so, because it's a very powerful feature. Very easy to go back and forth with your clients. So that's what we've done with married filing separate. I'm going to cover a couple other topics with married filing separate. Now I go back to my account uploads, and I'll move back to John here. Again, these are all linked. That's why I can move so quickly. If you want to upload any PowerPoint presentations with the extension .ppsx, you can do that now. Mark is done. We moved that to the top too. We had it at the bottom. It's up here also. So again, if you just check here, that's what the Mark is done box does. Uploads highlighted. Again, if you want to delete, it's going to tell you which record you're going to delete. If you're going to edit, it'll highlight which record you're editing. Default predefined notes, just like we did for the permanent documents. If I were to select, say, tax return, I had it default to my predefined note, draft tax return, please review. I have other predefined notes I can select in here, but I set this up in admin. So if you find yourself an upload type with the same description all the time, that's how you can set that up, so you don't have to even select the predefined note if it's the same every time. E-sign documents, we're trying to improve on the e-sign documents. Now if I select, this is all set up in my upload types. So I say e-sign form 8879 taxpayer only. It's going to automatically check the box e-sign client. Now I know it wasn't hard to check the box, but some of my new preparers were forgetting to do that. So then I get a call from the client saying, you know, hey, I'm trying to e-sign, but I don't see any e-sign required on the portal. So it's just trying to put like error checks into the software to make it easier so you don't have to remember to do anything. So now it'll automatically check the box, e-sign client. And I'm gonna go ahead and put something in here. Signature documents. Oh, I actually need to go to Albert. And the next I wanna set up is, let's go here, signature document, and I do e-sign taxpayer. Then I hit save. It's going to give me an error message because I don't have either the zip code, their birth date, or their social set up. So when I go back to their file, I can see, oh, I didn't have his birth date in here. Because again, those were a lot of the calls we were getting because e-sign wasn't working. And I know you guys have had problems too, and you say e-sign, my clients are struggling. A lot of the times the struggle was because your preparers didn't set it up properly. All right, and a lot of times it was new clients, because say if you're using Drake and you're a new client, normally you wouldn't enter in their mailing address or their birth date because that's all going to import in. But then you forget, oh, I need that information if they're e-signing. So this is just going to give you an alert telling you that not all the information is entered, so that you get the alert here and you don't have to wait for the client to call you, you know, when they're confused and frustrated because they can't e-sign. So I'm hoping these little changes here will make the e-sign even better. I mean, last year it was a lot better than it was the year before, so this will hopefully make it even better going into next year. Page 10, office events. I'm gonna switch over here to John's file. Print, let's see, office events right here. The print account event notes PDF, we just added the start and end date here. If you're using this page, hopefully that would come in handy. Office events highlight, just like everything else. If you want to delete, it's going to highlight. If you're going to edit, it's going to highlight. Also, if you have a future, so in this example here, this is assigned to Mark for July 18th. Today is July 17th, so this is in the future. So this assigned and due date is highlighting in red. I'm sorry, the assigned date's highlighting in red and the box is yellow. The reason we did this is a lot of times I'll assign tasks to myself like as follow-up reminders, but then if the client calls in and wants to get information to me, the receptionist takes the note right here. They can say, oh, it's already assigned to Mark. Well, they weren't paying attention that it was a future date. And so they were thinking that it was assigned to me, so I would see it right then, but I actually wasn't going to see it until that date actually arrives. So this is basically an alert for the support staff to know this is assigned to me, but it's a future date. So if I need to get that information currently, you need to change the date. That's why this was alert here. That's why we put that in here. Add predefined event. Now you can, if you have admin security level, if I'm doing notes and I find myself doing the same note over and over again, obviously that's what the predefined notes are all about. But to make it easier than having to go to admin, go to event status, go to your note, now I can actually click really quick from here, shoots me right into that event note page. I enter my predefined that I find myself making all the time, and then I go right back to that client file. Whoops, sorry, I went the wrong way. I was supposed to go to the, let me do that again. Edit. And now I hit back to client, then it sends me right back into that client file right where I was. So it's just a quicker way of adding a predefined note, setting up a predefined note in admin. But again, you have to have admin security level to even see that link. Page 11, almost done here. Office events, reoccurrence for open event. I'm going to switch over to X-Tax here. This feature is more for people usually probably using it for bookkeeping or payroll, add them for bookkeeping or payroll, tracking all those tasks that are needed. So right now how this works is when you close an event out and you have it set for reoccurrence, it'll then reoccur, say payrolls every 2 weeks, it'll then reoccur and populate and show the due date for the next 2 weeks, but it has to be triggered based on you closing the event out. Now you can set it up that it still will work exactly the same way, but if you want to have it actually trigger just based on, say in this example, every 14 days, whether it gets closed or not, you can do that, and you set that up in admin in the event status. So now you have the best of both worlds. If you want it to trigger based on the reoccurrence to trigger based on a closed event, it still works exactly the same way, but if you want to trigger just based on so many days past the start date, even if that event's still open, it will do that. Again, these are for the bookkeeping payroll people, not the regular tax clients. We usually don't have reoccurring events. Add events pop-up box. Let me switch back to John here. And when I hit add event, all I did is I moved the event user. It was over here. Now I moved it over here. Let's make it easier to see who's supposed to be associated with this event. Transaction information section down here. You can now, for the invoicing, if you're using invoicing, so if I were to select, what am I on? State only fee, I have it set up in admin that I want to invoice this. So then this automatically will be checked, set. So then when I go ahead and hit save, I automatically have an invoice. So I don't have to do the one extra step and actually check the box set. So if you have transactions, you always want to have an invoice associated with it. You set that up in admin. Link client balances, again, because link clients, it's such a powerful tool within Atom. So now, in this case, JTC, the balance is 175, they're a link client. Now I've added link clients will show up in your total balance here. So here's my current balance, my other years. If you look here, I got other years, and then there's my link client for grand total. And then, of course, when you hit, make a payment, and you do your multi-year payment, you can have everything show up in there, including your link client. And since we're on this page, one of the other features, you can now no longer change the total down here, unless you were to uncheck the box, then it will change automatically. And if you want to change it here, it'll change, but you will not be able to edit this amount field. Married filing separate. Again, as we said, I'm trying to remove married filing separate from even showing up in the client file. So now the balance it's not down in the other accounts area. so that other married filing separate will not show up in the balances. If you want it to show up, you're going to link it to the file. Just cleaning it up. Transactions highlight when selected for edit, just like all the other features. If I select here, if I select the edit pencil, it's just going to highlight the record so we know which one we're working on. QuickBooks import, we're working on this one. So this would be when I select this, whichever ones I want these transactions to go, I export it, it'll create a CSV file. We then can import that into QuickBooks. We're currently still working on that. So that would be fully completed, we're hoping, for our winter release. And if you have any input as to really what you want to see, go to Adam into QuickBooks, please call our support team, and they'd love to hear from you to make this a better feature, because I know a lot of you guys want this, but we need more input from you. So please send us a message, or pick up the phone and call to help us make that even better. EF database, all we did is here, I don't have a reject, but we just added the city reject code in red. All accounts, as I mentioned, we're cleaning up. If it's married filing separate will no longer display under all accounts, because now we're trying to do everything through linked clients to keep it clean. Moving on to page 12, task notes information. Again, here, if it's a future assign date, it'll highlight in yellow, and then the assign date will actually be in red to help the support staff know that this is assigned into the future. And then also, if you were to hover over here to delete or hit edit, it's going to highlight so you know which record you're working on. And also you can add the time in here too if you want to get very specific on the date and time. Okay, moving on to link clients. Again, you can hover over it, it'll highlight in yellow. Edit also will highlight the record. Quick link menu bar, hope you guys are using this. Just to navigate around in the client file, I hit top, I hit bottom, we added that. And again, obviously you can go to home, search, assign tasks. I use assign task a lot, or in account uploads too, but mostly assign tasks is where I go back and forth. I use the quick menu bar a lot with. Moving on to page 13, last page. Let's go to admin. And we changed, as I mentioned, scheduling type is now called appointment type. And this is where you'd create your appointment types. This is the icons you pick. If you want that to display on the client portal, you can control that right here too, the appointment type. And then this is where you do your notifications. So you can customize them based on the appointment type. Check-in configurations, if you're using a self-check-in, all we did is we expanded the character count so you can make your messages even longer. Company. This one's an important one. So if you're using Adam to charge a convenience fee, it used to say a processing fee. So say you want to charge an extra 3% if they're using credit cards, because obviously you're getting charged by the credit card merchant. So passing that on to the client, which seems to be an acceptable process nowadays, we found out that we are only supposed to be able to charge a processing fee on for credit cards, but not debit cards. And it's very hard to identify whether it's a debit card or credit card, but you can say convenience fee and then everything's fine. So we've changed convenience fee throughout the whole software. So in the transaction section, on the client portal, so anywhere where it said credit card processing fee, it now says convenience fee. So we are complete compliance. So if you want to do this, this is a way of getting a little extra money, just covering your costs that you're incurring from the credit card company. So you're actually not making money, you're just not suffering a loss by using credit cards. Let's see here. Predefined messages. Coming down here, predefined client portal message. We'll talk about this. So this area was getting very large if you're using it. Now you can, the ones that are inactive, you can hide those or you can see them. You can also filter So say I have my holiday message. I can just get right to this as opposed to seeing the whole list. So we did that with all of them. So predefined email, prospect, because it was just getting a long list, we needed a way of controlling it and managing it better. So we added this little filter feature, plus you can hide your inactive ones. User, on the user page, we have the comment fields. So if you hover over this, it's just going to tell you what you want entered in here. I believe it does anyways. There we go. Same way with the security information, just kind of telling you what it is. All we did is take the information from the screen help and we just added it to each field to make it easier for you. Reports, we created some new reports. We have bookkeeping, client balance for open transactions. So that's like an aging report. So it'll show if it's 90 days, 180 days. And again, it has to be an open transaction, meaning it's undone to show up in that report. And all these reports, these new reports, remember, if they're not turned on, you need to go to your admin and then report permissions and then turn them on and make them, viewable based on security groups. So if you're looking for some of these reports and they're not showing up, that would be why. Client portal activity log, I'm not going to get into this, but this is just going to show you each one of your clients. If you want to see, are they actually really using the portal? And then what are they using the portal for? So it's actually right here. So you can either do everybody or you can actually pick a specific client to see what they're using the portal for if you're interested in that. Mailers client export, that's kind of our big data dump. We just added the fax number to that, and we also added the override email and cell number 2 to that dump. Management upload report. Now you can identify which export or which uploads are expiring. So for the driver's license, you can see that in advance before your clients come in. Management archive client report. So now you can archive a client, meaning that they won't display when you do a search. You can actually run a report to see all those clients that are archived. Payroll wage detail with time off. That's basically the payroll wage detail report, but we added a column for the paid time off. And that is it. That's all 13 pages for our summer release. We'll be doing a winter release also, probably sometime in December. But a lot of these changes were actually your changes, your requests. So, keep the suggestions coming. We do listen, and, makes it better, makes the software better for everybody. So thank you again for all your support, and I hope you enjoy these. And we got more to come in the winter. Thank you.